If my cat happens to like yell, we'll just ignore that and just reshoot, like, because I don't want that to interfere. So it's a senile old cat and he just keeps being bothersome. No, it's fine.
Hey guys, welcome to Inside Comics with George Michail. Really quick, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe and tell a friend about it. Today, my guest is Miss Mistiqarts herself, Mina Petrovic. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
So Mina, you have contributed a new cover. It's a Kickstarter exclusive for my book, Resilient, and it just turned out dynamite. I'm really excited about the work that you've done here.
Yeah, it was actually one of my best pieces yet, because it was so like sensual in a way, but also very artsy. And I had this opportunity to actually experiment with some color theory, and it ended up really well, in my personal opinion. So I'm really proud of it as an illustration.
I had an artist friend look at it and he said that may be the best drawn book, maybe the best drawn foot he's ever seen.
References, kids, just use references.
So I want to talk to you about building your audience, building your fan base. But before we get into that, I'd like to kind of go into the Resilient book a little bit more. So as you know, it's about a woman. She's a judo teacher, and she loses both her arms in like a tragic accident, and she gets like these like robotic I don't know, arms. And she starts like just kicking butt. She has to like rescue her boyfriend who's taken captive by these gangsters. And so it's a lot of fun. She's got these like katanas and robot arms. The arms are controlled by her glasses, and she does like eye movements in them. And so your cover takes place before she loses the arms, when she's just the judo teacher, which is still pretty awesome. But kind of deeper than that, I wanted to write a book about someone going through like a personal injury. And while I haven't lost my arms, obviously, I did break my back. I had heart surgery when I was 15, and I was in the hospital for weeks on end. And so I wanted to talk about those topics. And then also the couple in the book, Jolanda, who's named after my wife, actually, and her husband, Colin, are trying to have a baby, and they're having a hard time with that. And it talks about a couple kind of sticking with each other, kind of no matter what, and the bond between a husband and wife. So I wanted to talk about all these different sort of subjects, and then also have it kind of in like this action movie type setting where there's these gangsters who have taken her husband and she has to go rescue them. And it's a really fun book. It's out through Absolute Comics right now, and you can order it in Previews Magazine, or you can go on Kickstarter and pick up exclusive covers, including yours, which is only available through there. So I hope everyone will go out and do that. With that out of the way, I do want to talk to you about building your audience, because you've had a tremendous amount of success on your YouTube channel. You have over 150,000 subscribers, and I'm wondering, what is it that you've done to kind of build this audience, this fan base of yours?
How should I say start? Well, anything that's like a big project or has some results takes time. First of all, like it's never like instantly, unless it's like a super celebrity like mentioning you or something like that, but there's no following overnight. There's also this mean little thing that's recently giving hell to any creator out there, and that's the little thing called algorithm, where it's literally the little digital deity of randomness. So if the algorithm likes you, it will just bring people to see you. And if it doesn't like you for some reason, it will shadow ban you. And like it has destroyed careers of many of my friends online. Of course, I always tell them not to give up. So I guess the algorithm liked me a lot in the beginning. And I did do some things, like do some videos, do some topics that people wanted to hear my opinion on, like manga tutorials, which is like my basic thing. A lot of people wanted to know more. I had some real life experience about teaching people. I'm not this super famous manga artist or something like that, but I did learn how to teach people. And that's something you don't see that any artist can do. Like there's a difference between just an artist and there's a difference between being a teacher, because there's a craft in spreading knowledge correctly without making people like be scared or demotivate them or something like that. So I guess that's the main part why my channel grew so much, because I knew how to talk to people and share this journey with them, and it ended up with 100, like that 150,000 subscribers. And that's pretty much it. Like just know what you're good at and start doing it and keep at it. That's the most important thing. Keep at it. Don't give up after a week or a month or a algorithm shadow banning you or something like that.
Yeah, I've only been working on my channel for about 6 months now, and my most popular video is what a publisher looks for in comic book submissions. And that's information that people want, right? So many people want to break into comic books, and they want to know, well, how do I do that? And I think the same with your tutorials. People want to draw and like you, and they want to know, how do you do that, right? So providing something that's useful and informative, I think, is really key. And so that's one thing I try to do every week as well, from all aspects of comics, from writing. I've had some artists on, I've had some publishers, inkers, colorists, all those sorts of different aspects of the comic book business is what we try to cover here on Inside Comics. And then you also have a very successful Instagram page. You're on Patreon as well. And I'm wondering, what do you do to keep your audience engaged and kind of coming back every week on those platforms?
Well, that part is actually the worst part. Like if you have, well, not the worst, but the most time consuming, the most energy consuming part. It's so difficult because the one thing is to be able to draw. It doesn't matter if you draw well or mediocre, or you're just a beginner, like it doesn't matter in this world where we are trying to make people follow us, give their hard-earned money to us, and just be constantly be going back to our pages. So the one thing is to draw, and the other thing is to see what those people want, how to provide it to them, how to constantly innovate it, make it more tantalizing to them, like more interesting, be always updated about the latest trends, topics, hashtags, stuff to draw. Oh, there's my cat. So it's a ton of research, a ton of social network research, where you will be looking at the most used hashtags, and sometimes those trends change not daily but hourly almost, and it's so hard to keep up. It's a job on its own to do that constant research, to always keep polls, to ask your current customers what they like, what they want to see, and then go one step further and do actual research to keep them satisfied for longer so they can keep going back. So it's literally doing two jobs.
Yes, I noticed that a lot of your posts are very topical. What is the kind of the new hot kind of anime show? Well, then you're drawing those characters and shipping some of those relationships that people are, kind of hoping for on those shows. And yeah, it really keeps it current and fresh. And I think that is one of the keys to audience retention.
Yep. Exactly. I always though have this policy of drawing stuff I personally like. So if there's like a anime show or a topic that's super popular, but I don't personally like it, I will not draw it, because if I lose that last bit of satisfaction from my job, then I don't see a point.
Right. Yeah, but kind of part of being a creator is kind of putting on that hard hat and working every day, right? And
Yep.
I know, like as a writer, if it was just a hobby for me, I'd only kind of write when I feel like it. But sometimes you have to kind of force yourself to get into it and start putting words on the page or putting a pencil to paper there. Um, I, I I think that that's the reason why I'm starting to have some success with my books, is because I always kind of push myself to do something to kind of further my career every day. I even if the mood doesn't hit me. Someone once said, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay like a hobby. If you treat it like
Yeah,
a job, it'll pay like a job.
exactly. Yeah. And also you want your product, well, and in the end, it is a job, it is a product that you're giving to your people, to your customers, to your consumers. And in the end, you want your product to be something that they will love, something that they will want more of, and something that they will continue paying for. You need to make it like worth their while. That's why all my best perks on my Patreon, for example, are $2 perks. It's something that, like, I hope that it's something that almost anybody can, like, really hope, but I know that's not the case every time. But I really try my best to give for those $2 to give people comics that are ongoing on my pages. I even gave tutorials up until now. I have like $1 tier is actually consulting, like live consulting with me once a month, which is something that's highly requested. So just those two lowest tier perks are the ones that are something that my audience wants the most.
Yeah, and then higher up though, you like have sketches and all sorts of different things that.
Yeah, videos and early access stuff that nobody else gets to see. So the more higher you go, the more exclusive it feels. But I know it's like a luxury, so I keep it at a luxury point. But I also try not to discriminate if like somebody is unable to give more than $2, and just try to shower them with lovely stuff every month.
That's great. Yeah, I think it's so important to kind of build your following and keep those people engaged. I've heard from a lot of different people on in the comic book industry that if you can kind of get, and it's the hardest group to get, but if you can get like those first like 1,000 or even 500 kind of followers that are going to stick with you and buy your stuff, you can really carve out like a nice career in such a small industry, really. But that's all you really need. And also another thing I've noticed is that on, like, for example, Kickstarter or Indiegogo, the average pledge amount is about $50. So even 200 backers on a book, that equates to like $10,000, right?
Yeah.
So if you can continue to kind of build that audience and keep them uh, interested in your work and wanting to support you, then they'll show up for you when you have your Patreons or you do your Kickstarters.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's part of like providing free content. All right, because so we have our YouTube channels. Yours is huge and mine is little, but and then
Mine was little at the beginning as well. I
uh,
think this channel is like 10 years old already, so it
wow,
took some time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so putting videos on YouTube, posting on Instagram and social media, that's all kind of free content that keeps your audience interested in what you're doing. And so then when you're ready to launch that book or to have your Patreon, people will show up for you. And so I
Yeah.
think it's all kind of part of the mechanism that is the comic book industry, as I'm figuring it out myself.
Yep. You're correct. The only catch here is that You actually have to pick concrete, solid theme your work is revolved around. Like, for example, your revolved around comics and the world of publishing and comics. And if you were to, I don't know, suddenly start doing like, I don't know, reviews of power tools or something like that, all your audience would just go away, because it's people like following something that's like, loyal to the brand, loyal to the topic that got them interested in the first place.
Yeah, that's great advice too. I'll stay away from power tool reviews.
Yeah.
Mina, I want to thank you so much for being on Inside Comics. Your cover for Resilient is available on Kickstarter right now. So everybody go out there and back that book. And give Mina a follow on Instagram if you're not already doing so, or subscribe to her YouTube channel. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks so much for inviting me.